I'm going to start the video with saying who are my 10 best Call of Duty characters actually. So yeah, I've uploaded lots of Celestial Show videos. I made space contacts, but also seem to like Call of Duty very much also. So I decided to also declare who my 10 best Call of Duty characters are actually. And as far as this list goes, actually, this list only includes the protagonists, good guys actually. But don't worry, on a Friday I will also upload who I think are the most evil villains in the Call of Duty game ever. So please, so without further ado, let's start. And I'm distributing it on Google Slides technically. So let's start. Let me show you who are my 10 best villains. Alright, here I go. I think there's problem with it. Alright, so my number 10, I'm starting with Call of Duty Advanced Warfare actually. So Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, as you know, was a really a cool game actually. It was set in the future, in the year, basically it started in the year 2054 and it ended in 2061. So I like the future technology of that. So at number 10 I have the main protagonist of Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and that's Jack Mitchell. So as far as Mitchell goes, actually, he's a interestingly cool character. I know he doesn't speak in the campaign, but he does narrate his story in the Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. In fact, he's the only playable character. So as far as his backstory goes, his father was actually a U.S. Marine, and his father was actually wanted him to be a U.S. Marine just like him. So Mitchell did not have much of a choice but to agree with his father, and he joined it along with his best friend Will Irons. So what happened was that in the first mission where he joined the US Marines with Will, and he was sent on a mission to technically basically destroy a gunship to drive back the North Korean forces. What happened was that Mitchell made it out alive, but his best friend Will died. But but Mitchell also lost his left arm as a result, because of which got discharged. But then he soon got a job at a PMC called Atlas Corporation by Will's father, Jonathan Irons, who later we find out is the main antagonist of Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. So Mitchell joins Atlas, and he takes out the KVA. He's after a terrorist organization called the KVA and their leader Hades. He takes them down, but Hades reveals Iron's plans actually. So what happened was that when Mitchell finds out about Iron's action, that he let the he allowed the nuclear attacks of the KVA to happen, he betrays Irons for his actions and joins the Sentinel. And that's what happens. He's soon captured by the Atlas forces, and Irons shoots his squad leader Cormac and breaks his arm, but he somehow manages to get back, and he finally manages to kill Irons soon. But he does state that in the epilogue that it's not the beginning. Iron's death isn't the end actually, but it's the beginning of their war with Atlas. So we find out from this, we find out his personality is cool, his narration is cool, and his one-liner is awesome. So, but since he doesn't speak that much, and his personality isn't that cool, that is why he's our number 10. And now at number 10, we have the most recent character on this list, Alejandro Vargas. So Alejandro Vargas was a character from Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 2022, which is the latest in the Call of Duty series. So as far as Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 goes, it was a reboot version of the Call of Duty original Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. It was much better than the previous one. So much better. So the new character here is Alejandro Vargas, the leader of the Mexican Special Forces Unit Los Vaqueros, or the Cowboys, I would say. So as far as Alejandro goes, what happened was that he was born in Las Almas, which is a fictional city of Mexico. But as far as he goes, he used to serve with a woman named by the name of Valeria. But what happened was that Valeria betrayed the Mexican Special Forces, and she joined the Las Almas cartel, which was enemies with Mexican Special Force. So after Alejandro finds out who is leading Las Almas cartel, he begins a hatred towards Valeria and decides to go after her. So what happens was that he's in protection of his country. His personality is very cool. We didn't get to know backstory, but his personality was much cooler than Mitchell's actually. And his one-liners were awesome as well. And that is why he's our number 9 here. And at number 8, we are going back to original Modern Warfare, to Modern Warfare 3, to visit the main protagonist of that game, Yuri. So, as you have seen in Call of Duty, we have seen a good character turning into a bad, betraying you and turning into a bad character. So yeah, that's what we have seen. But there are rare cases where a bad character turns into a good character actually. And Yuri is a rare example of that. So as far as Yuri goes, he was first introduced in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, but actually his story actually began back in Call of Duty 4. So what happened was that Yuri used to serve in the Ultra Nationalists alongside the most evil character in Call of Duty, Makarov. So what happened was that Yuri used to be an Ultra Nationalist commander, and what happened was that in 1996 when Captain Price, who was just a lieutenant back then, he and Captain McMillan shot Imran Zakhaev, the leader of the Ultra Nationalists. But Zakhaev only lost an arm and managed to escape. And the person driving people in that jeep where Zakhaev escaped were actually Makarov and Yuri. And fast forward to 15 years later, in 2011, when US Marines were sent to capture Khalid al-Assad, what happened was that Makarov ordered al-Assad to detonate a nuclear bomb, which ended up killing all the 30,000 US Marines. And Yuri was there actually, but when he saw the destruction from the nuke, he began a hatred towards Ultranationalist and decided to leave Makarov. So what happened was that in 5 years later, in 2016, when Makarov was planning to attack the Zakhaev International Airport in Russia, Yuri already won the FSB, but Makarov was always one step ahead. He found out about it, and as punishment, he shot Yuri and left him for dead. However, that's when Yuri began a hatred towards ultranationalists and decided to wipe out ultranationalists and Makarov for good. So he joins Task Force 141 and the Russian loyalists, and he finally decides to get his revenge on Makarov. He eventually succeeds, but he dies at the end by Makarov, but his death just gives the Captain Price the chance to finally kill Makarov. So that tells us that even a bad character can easily turn into a good guy if actually they still have some empathy in it, and that shows how cool Yuri is. His personality was good. He was able to predict everything. And number 7, we have another Russian, and that is Viktor Reznov. So as far as Viktor Reznov goes, he was first introduced in Call of Duty World at War. Those events take place during World War II, but as we found out about Reznov. So Reznov was actually born in St. Petersburg, Russia, and his father was a great musician actually. So to the Russians it was a cool music, but for Germans it wasn't. So what did the Nazis do? Nazis under the command of Hitler, they slit Reznov's father's throat while he was sleeping, and that's one of the reasons why Reznov hates Germans actually so much. So what happens? He came in World at War with his best friend Dmitry Petrenko. So Dmitry and he were very good friends, and they managed to protect Russia. And originally, Reznov served under the commands of a person by the name of Nikita Dragovich. Yeah, and Nikita Dragovich is the man actually. Yeah, I do find it odd that how come Nikita is a man's name? It should be a girl's name, right? But still, I don't know. So as far as Reznov goes, he served under Dragovich and his right-hand man Kravchenko. Their mission was to capture a Nazi scientist by the name of Steiner. So they finally did manage to capture Steiner, but what happened was that Dragovich betrayed Reznov and Dmitry, and he tested a Nova 6 gas on them. So Nova 6 is technically a gas, a neurotoxin that can kill someone in less than 20 seconds if exposed. And even small portions of Nova 6 are very fatal, enough to kill anyone. So as far as Reznov goes, Reznov actually survived, but Dmitry ended up dying actually. So Reznov, that's when Reznov began a hatred towards Dragovich, Kravchenko and Steiner and decided to kill them. So Reznov managed to escape the ship, but he was soon captured and taken to a Russian camp by the name of Vorkuta. And in Vorkuta is where he met, 18 years later in 1963, is where he met an American soldier by the name of Alex Mason, who was recently captured and brainwashed by Dragovich, Kravchenko and Steiner. So what happens was that they managed to escape. Alex Mason jumps on a train, but Reznov drives off a truck, and we don't know what happens to him yet. So Reznov does appear in other missions of Mason. He helps him, he kills Steiner, but as it turns out, we found out later in the game that Reznov wasn't actually there. So what happened was that in 1963, when Reznov actually drove off the truck, he actually ended up, the truck actually exploded and Reznov died in that accident. It was presumed he was dead. And all this time, actually what happened was that after Dragovich brainwashed Mason to kill the US President JFK or John F. Kennedy, Reznov re-brainwashed Mason to kill Dragovich, Kravchenko and Steiner. And all this time when Reznov was there with Mason, that was actually a hallucination from Mason's brainwashing, actually. Now, Reznov does appear in Black Ops 2 actually, after Kravchenko dies and Mason is left to die in the desert with Woods. So Reznov appears to save him, but I think that was just one of Mason's hallucination again, because Reznov was actually dead all this time. So I think, but as far as Reznov goes, he was surely a mystery person. His personality was good, his backstory was really sad, and that is, but still he's at number 7. And now moving to to the American part, we have Alex Mason. So as far as Alex Mason goes, he was really a great character. He was born in 1913, Fairbanks, Alaska. He used to serve in the USMC, and then he joined the CIA with his best friend Frank Woods. So what happened was that his first mission was to eliminate Fidel Castro, the Cuban president, but he soon got captured and taken to Vorkuta by Dragovich. So as far as Mason goes, he escaped the Vorkuta prison, continued serving in his mission in CIA, and he eventually killed Steiner and Dragovich. But Kravchenko was still alive. So Mason makes his next appearance in even though Black Ops 2 comes after Black Ops 1, in the timeline of Black Ops, Mason next time appears in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War actually. And that is because if you see, Call of Duty Black Ops 1 takes place in the year 1968, while the Call of Duty Black Ops 2 events don't take place until the year 1968. And Black Ops Cold War takes place in 1981. So yeah, there's a gap between it. So he was really a cool character in that, really cool. He was playable. And we found out that in 1979 he also had, his son was born, whom he named David Mason. And we found, David Mason. That's right. So in Black Ops 2, we see the interaction between David Mason and Frank Woods. So what happened was that Alex Mason's friend Woods is captured by a Nicaraguan terrorist by the name of Raul Menendez. So what happened was that Mason is called back into the army by his friend Jason Hudson. Now David isn't happy about it because he doesn't get time to see his father, and David's mother also died in 1981, which was 2 years after he was born. So in Black Ops Cold War, we found out, that makes us wonder, in Black Ops Cold War, if Mason was with Frank Woods, that means that David was staying with Hudson's wife actually. Yeah, Hudson does say it. So what happened was that Mason does join, and David is staying with Jenny. So what happens was that Mason rescues Woods and they go after Menendez again. But where things end is in Panama actually, where Woods is told to shoot a man who is actually Menendez, and you have either the option to shoot him in the head and kill him, or shoot him in anywhere except the head and spare him. But however, after we shoot him, we soon realized that the target was actually Mason and not Menendez. So that makes sense. It was really a big plot twist in Call of Duty actually. Because all this time Woods was explaining this story to David Mason in the year 2025. And yeah, David was really shocked to find out that Woods, who has actually raised him after Mason's death or presumed death, Woods always used to tell David that it was just some nut that killed Alex Mason. But after Woods tells David that it was actually Woods himself that killed Mason, David was really shocked, but reassures him that it it was not his fault. So, but actually, Mason's death is optional. Actually, but it was presumed that he was dead, and you have the option to shoot Mason in the head or kill him, and which leads to the ending where Woods and David visit Mason's grave and remember him one last time, where David puts down his pistol to leave the military and stay with his family. But and the other ending, which is the best ending, canon ending, I think, is where you shoot Mason anywhere except the head, and he survives, and he reunites with back with Woods and his son David, and we see a cool interaction. But as far as Mason goes, he has more backstory. His backstory is cool, but speaking of personality is actually quite dry and dull actually. So that is why it's our number 6. And now at number 5 we have Mason's best friend, Frank Woods. So as far as Frank Woods goes, he's the exact opposite to Mason actually. So Frank Woods' backstory we don't know much about. All we know is that he was born in 1930. He used to live with parents, unnamed parents, but at a young age he ran away from his own and used to live in the streets. And but he soon joined the USMC and joined the CIA, and that's where he met Mason. So what happened was that between that he was captured by Kravchenko and taken to a prison, and Mason packed in prison that both Woods and Kravchenko were dead actually. However, that was not the case. So Woods returned back in 1981 as a main character. He was surely awesome. His personality was cool, actually, very cool. One-liners were awesome. But the thing about Woods is that he also returns back in 1986, and he ends up getting captured by Menendez. Now it is never really shown actually how he ended up getting captured by Menendez. But all we know is that he was working for Jonas Savimbi, and that's when he got captured by Menendez. However, they do manage to get him back. Mason does manage to get Woods back actually, and that's when Woods' hatred towards Menendez increases even further. So what was it? By accident, he throws a grenade at Menendez, but it does not kill Menendez, but it kills Menendez's sister Josefina, and that sparks the hatred in Menendez's heart even more. What he does, he manipulates Woods into shooting or possibly killing Alex Mason, depending on your choice. But and what he does is he murders Hudson and kidnaps David Mason. So what happened was that Woods thinks, "Oh my God, I killed my own friend, and now who will take care of David?" So what the Woods does, since Mason is dead, he decides to take care of David as his legal guardian and as his uncle, and he raises David for the rest of his life. And that's all we know. And in 1922, he returns as a 95-year-old man. He explains everything to David, including that it was him who killed Mason, not Menendez. And that's all we know for Frank Woods. His one-liners was awesome, his personality was cool, and that is why I think he's better than Alex Mason. And at number 1, we have a character from Modern Warfare trilogy. A character by the name of Ghost. Actually, Ghost is just a call sign. His real name is Simon Riley, actually. So you must be wondering, he's a complete mystery. Now you must be wondering why he wears the ghost mask. Well, in original Modern Warfare trilogy, we found out that Simon's father was really abusive. He used to bring dangerous animals at home and scared Simon with it, and Simon got used to it soon. Now Simon soon enlisted in the SAS, and however soon his own friends Sparks and Washington killed his own entire family. And what was happened? They framed Simon. So now Simon soon finds both of them and kills them, and makes it everyone wonder that he also died in the explosion, and what was left was just a ghost. And that's how that is why he wears ghost mask on his face entire time. So as we found out, Ghost really had a sad upbringing actually. Soon joins Task Force 141 under the command of Soap, and then we see Ghost actually participate when in mission, but where things end is in the mission loose ends. Very, you see, after all the sad upbringing, he soon gets killed and betrayed by his own general who picked him up, General Shepard. So yeah, his death was really short. His death really shows you how evil Shepard was actually. Shepard kills Ghost actually and burns his body alive, and that is why the character said Shepard even more actually. It really changes the concept of General Shepard actually. So yeah, but Ghost does return back in the rebooted Modern Warfare, the current timeline of Modern Warfare actually. Except that he has a new voice actor, but we don't know whether he has. He was also born in Manchester, England, but we don't know. But he had the same backstory as the original Ghost or different. But yeah, he's a. Actually it turns out while in OG Ghost, Ghost worked alone in the shadows. In this version, Ghost soon realizes that he needs to work in a team to be successful. He thinks that teams are more important. That is why he decided to team up again. So no. And at number 3 we have the person with the saddest death scene in the Call of Duty, and that's Soap MacTavish. Now Soap MacTavish isn't his real name actually. His real name is John MacTavish. Soap is just a nickname. Now if you are wondering why his nickname Soap, that is actually because it is known that he can scrub and kill enemies with one clean shot, and that is why he got the nickname Soap in the SAS. As far as Soap goes, he was born in Scotland and he joined the SAS. And in the original Modern Warfare, when he joined the SAS, he was referred as the FNG. If you don't know what FNG means, actually, it means fucking new guy. Actually, that's what they thought. But as far as Soap goes, the relationship between Price and Soap increases, becomes very good. In fact, at the end of Call of Duty 4, when Zakei is about to kill Soap, Price slides his pistol towards Soap, and Soap manages to kill Zakei and his men. Now in Modern Warfare 2, when Soap rescues a prisoner who is revealed to be Captain Price, he slides back the pistol back to Price, finally. And but he returns in Modern Warfare 3. Now at the end of Modern Warfare 2, what happens was that they are on hunt for General Shepard, and Shepard stabs Soap badly, and even though Soap managed to kill Shepard, he was badly wounded by the stab wound caused by Shepard, and he's evacuated to India quickly. Now Soap manages to recover quickly, but what happens was the end that Makarov ends up killing Soap. What happened was that they were planning an assassination attempt on Makarov, and what happened was that Makarov was one step ahead. He planted bombs on the church Soap and Yuri were in, he detonated them, and Soap got killed as a result. He died from blood loss, and Price puts his pistol towards Soap. Yeah, his death was really sad. Even now, when I played Modern Warfare 3 and when Soap died, I really found this to be very sad one actually. Really sad. In fact, so sad that I found it to be the saddest scene in the Call of Duty ever. For a while I thought Ghost's death was sad, but now Soap's death is really sad. In my opinion. Really sad. Because it shows the relationship between Captain Price and Soap. And now we have the Soap's mentor. But wait, anyways, Soap does return back in the current Modern Warfare timeline with a new voice actor. And it's shown to be more cool than last time. Really, really cool. And now we have Soap's mentor, Captain Price. So Captain Price should be number 1, but I'll put him down to number 2. You'll see why. So Captain Price, without Captain Price, there is no Modern Warfare at all actually. You see, Captain Price was really a cool character. His one-liners were really awesome. In the OG Modern Warfare, he was really cool actually. So yeah, in OG Modern Warfare, we didn't know where he was when he was born actually, but we do find out that he was born in the year 1953 actually, which would make him 64 years old in the Modern Warfare 3 trilogy at the end of Modern Warfare, OG Modern Warfare. So as far as Captain Price goes, he and Macmillan participated in an attempt to kill Zakei, but the mission didn't go as planned. Zakei escaped, but 15 years later, Captain Price got the rank of Captain again. Captain Price, what happened? He got the rank of Captain. So yeah, he was a lieutenant back then. So he got a rank of Captain, and he took Soap, Gaz under his wing. He eventually killed Zakei, but now Zakei's protege Makarov was leading the Ultramarines and he planned to destroy the world. Now Captain Price seemingly got captured by Makarov, but he soon manages to escape, and in the end, Captain Price finally manages to kill Makarov, giving an end to the saddest, most evil villain in Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, or just the entire Call of Duty series actually. So, he returns in Call of Duty Reboot and Modern Warfare, but this time he's different. He's younger than the original one, and he shows more of his emotions actually. But he still is very nice character. His one-liners are really still cool in my opinion, and that is why he's not number 2. And I'm sure you will never guess who my number 1 character is. And now let's dive into the number 1 character, and that is David Mason, of course. Yeah, David Mason. So as far as David Mason goes, he only appears in Black Ops 2, but we do know about his story. So he was born in 1979 to Alex Mason and his wife. Now we don't know really about David Mason's mother actually, but she died 2 years after David was born, which left Alex Mason to take care of him. Now actually what happened was that Alex Mason was really harsh to David and would teach him in Alaska just like Alex Mason's father used to teach Alex Mason. Now what happened was that when Mason was going in war, he took David to Hudson's house, and Hudson's wife Jenny used to take care of David. Now after Mason retires, Alex Mason retired to simply spend time with his son David. Now however in 1996 he is called back to the army, and David tells his father not to join, but Alex reassures him that he will be taken care of by Jenny, and he will be back. Now, what happens was that in 1989, Menendez kidnaps David Mason and drugs him unconscious and tells him that Alex Mason will die soon. Now, what happened was that Woods is tricked into shooting or maybe killing Alex Mason, and then Menendez murders Hudson, and then shows David Mason his father's body. Now, at this point, David assumes that his father is dead and he ends up crying. But what happened was that Woods takes care of David now and takes care of him for the rest of his life. Now what happened was that now he teaches David Mason important lesson, and with that Mason joins the U.S. Navy SEALs in the year 1996, and he soon gets the rank of a lieutenant commander, and that is where David Mason gets his nickname, or I would say codename, Section. Now yeah, it's a really mystery, complete mystery. Why is he called Section? That was never really mentioned. Now if you take a look at Simon Riley, Ghost gets his nickname because Simon Riley gets the nickname Ghost because of him wearing Ghost Mac. Soap MacTavish gets his nickname Soap because he can kill enemies in one shot. But Section, really mischievous. We don't know why is he called that, but still, seeing his stats upbringing, yeah, that is why David is number 1. But it's also because of his personality. He shows more of his emotions than his father used to his allies. But yeah, David is now a lieutenant commander and working for the Navy SEALs, and is after Menendez and to avenge the death of his father. Now in the end he does, and if you are playing the canon ending, Mason does manages to kill Menendez, and when he reunites with Wood, that is when he meets his father, Alex Mason, again. And I really like that. But ladies and gentlemen, those are the best characters who I think are the 10 best characters in Call of Duty history. Now if you want to know who I think are the best villains, most evil villains in the Call of Duty, since I will upload that video on Friday and let you know my Friday actually. So yeah, peace.